Do I have to tell you to stop staring at your cousin? Stop staring at your cousin.
Everyone get down on the floor, crisscross applesauce, and listen closely. Today I'm gonna tell you about a mangaka. A woman mangaka. Her name is Makoto Ojiro, and needless to say, she has made some things. Some good, some definitely not. Ojiro got her start in the mid-2000s illustrating erotic picture books, because everyone has to begin somewhere. And like many talented manga artists who began their careers drawing pornography, the porn sucks. Well, maybe that's subjective. Personally, I'm just not a fan of bondage. I burned my hand on a rope swing once, and ever since then anything involving ropes just obliterates my boners. To each his own. Ojiro would soon move on to producing romantic manga like Katekin and Fujiyama-san. And then most recently, she struck gold with her most acclaimed series yet, Kimi wa Hokago Insomnia. Let me just say that acclaim is rightfully deserved because Insomnia happens to be one of the greatest romance stories currently publishing, and although I'm only going to lightly touch on it in this video, I recommend you heavily touch on it before its anime adaptation comes out and it's suddenly no longer cool to like it. And that's just how these things work apparently. But we're not here to focus on Ojiro's rough early works or her potential magnum opus. We are here to examine what came in the middle, a slice-of-life rom-com delight known as Cat Temple's Miss Chion. Neko no Otera no Chion-san is a coming-of-age tale about a young boy named Gen who moves to the countryside temple belonging to his great-grandmother at the beginning of his first year of high school. Upon arrival, he learns two things. 1. It's boring as hell. 2. His 19-year-old cousin Chion is amazingly attractive, and maybe the idea of genetically compromised potato children doesn't sound that bad.
It's not like, you know, look, we grew up together, and she grew up hot, you know, she fucking grew up hot, and all my friends were trying to fuck her, you know, and I'm not gonna let someone, you know, one of these assholes fuck my cousin. So, you know, if anyone's gonna fuck my cousin, it's gonna be me out of respect, you know.
No, I get it, yeah.
Yeah, this is our love story. Innocent lad reunites with his distant cousin he briefly lived with as a child, and the two slowly fall in love. And by slowly, I mean we've got about 70-something chapters, so strap in and lower the fuck out of those expectations. There's more than incestuous flirting going on, though, as Chion's grandfather has been deceased for several years and the temple is currently left without an heir in the midst of financial struggles. Chion loves the temple, though, and is more than willing to take charge of it. But her grandmother doesn't believe that the life of a solemn Buddhist priest is right for a young woman. That being said, she is more than supportive of Gen shacking up with her and becoming the heir himself, straight up asking, "Hey, can you do me a solid and just fuck your cousin, please? You know, bald is really coming back in style. You look stupid anyway, you fucking goober. Just please, fuck your cousin. Her eggs are dying as we speak. Come on, just do it for the family." And thus begins the great internal struggle that consumes Gen for the rest of the manga. Live a normal life with normal friends and eventually escape the dull country life? Or sacrifice it all for a humble existence as a priest, spending the rest of your days with your cousin wife and her god-tier jean-clad ass?
But I love big, beautiful women. I love them big, heavy women. They're always in a good mood. They don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, I feel it's worth mentioning, there is an unspeakably frequent amount of butt shots in this manga. Every last one is a precious gift, don't get me wrong, but it becomes really comical after a while. That being said, the more lewd moments littered throughout Chion-san are usually much more subtle than overtly sexual. I don't know if Ojiro just knows what boys like due to her own womanly status, but I'm astonished by just how tasteful so many of these illustrations are. Some of these pages are worthy of being displayed in fine art galleries. They're just gorgeous. Perhaps all the ass and cleavage shots are because the story is told from Gen's horny 15-year-old point of view. He's not trying to sexualize Chion all the time. He just can't help but admire her beauty in ways neither of them expected nor can they prevent. Props to Ojiro, by the way, for managing to hit so many overlooked yet insanely effective sexy marks that just don't appear that often. We have everything here. Translucent clothing, tan lines, those strands of hair that cling to your neck when you're sweaty. Hugging.
Oh yeah,
That's the stuff!
Let me affirm, Chion-san is not an ecchi or perverted series. Every chapter is meant to sell you on why Gen continues to fall for Chion and vice versa. And while physical attraction does play a significant part of that, over time and through dozens of ultra-wholesome interactions, their romance blossoms into something beyond that. Some of you, however, are likely still put off by the whole cousin thing. While I don't intend to be the die-hard incest apologist, let me point out why Gen and Chion's relationship is inherently more interesting than the average anime couple. If you haven't noticed the trend yet, almost every famous love story in fiction possesses some kind of cultural taboo attached to the relationship that produces the conflict. Quarreling families, dissenting social statuses, age gaps, cuckoldry. Chion-san recognizes how important this forbidden element is to creating a compelling romance, but it doesn't try to push it into the overly creepy territory. This isn't Yosuga no Sora, it's just a young guy battling his internal lust for a distant relative he barely knows, and over time that lust evolves into something more pure. Genuine young love. Furthermore, this romance will always be more interesting than the average rom-com where it's agonizingly obvious the main guy and girl are destined to hook up because you're wondering in the back of your head the whole time, is Gen really gonna go through with this? His classmate's really cute and clearly digs him. Would he really give up the safe, non-biological love interest for his cousin? Whether you feel disturbed by the romantic narrative or not, that engagement factor remains the same, and once you're engaged, you start to appreciate all the finer qualities of the story. Even ignoring the development of Gen and Chion's insatiable hunger for each other's sex fluids, the manga functions sublimely as a traditional feel-good slice of life, complete with visually pleasing backgrounds of rural Japan, and if that's not good enough, there's a shit ton of frighteningly realistic cats. And if that doesn't sell you, I don't know what else to say. It's got Cat Temple in the name for a reason. Every chapter has at least one game of Find the Cat, and you better believe I played along every time. In the vein of all the best countryside set slice of life stories, Chion-san succeeds in making you crave the pleasures of the simple life. And despite underlining all the less glamorous, downright terrible aspects of that life, there's an undeniable feeling of refreshment that sweeps over you when you get to vicariously absorb all the beams of sunlight and organic cicada sounds that Ojiro has delicately drawn out for us. I don't know if she herself has lived in the country before, but this level of authenticity is good enough to fool me if that's not the case. But what if you don't care about that? Stupid, anti-urban, return to the rice fields propaganda with the side of cousin fuckery. Is that all this has to offer? Well, if you're still unsold, then perhaps you can enjoy Chion-san for what it's really about at its heart. The pursuit of happiness. Gen is as indecisive and anxious as every other young adult is at pivotal points in their life. It takes him an entire manga's worth of time to come to the realization that living a humble life within the confines of a quiet temple with an assload of cats is the ideal life for him. It's devoid of excitement and relatively unrewarding as a career, but as long as he has someone like Chion to extend him support, then he already has everything a man could want. That story of settling for less to get the most out of life is one I believe everyone can connect to. And now, for no reason other than I feel I may have painted her as a strange sexual deviant, let me praise the shit out of Makoto Ojiro some more. The woman has traveled the long, merciless path of a struggling mangaka. However, with every new project, she's upped her abilities and honed her skills to where crafting a heartfelt story is second nature. And I think nothing showcases this better than the evolution of the romance in her manga. Fujiyama-san was certainly an improvement over her first major work since the main characters weren't unlikable cunts, but it never felt like anything more than a run-of-the-mill cutesy rom-com about a manlet and his tall mommy GF, though it was extremely cute.
So cute.
Then came Chion-san, which as I've relayed already features a highly intriguing romance, but tends to lean more towards being an ordinary slice of life with a comfortable setting. The incest is just a bonus. And then, crashing down from the heavens, we have Kimi wa Hokago Insomnia, which has taken everything fantastic about Ojiro's previous manga and blended them together with one of the most adorable couples ever created. And the best part is that almost all the bullshit has been cut. No more of this waiting until the final chapter for progress to happen. We are pairing these two up, and while we're at it, we're gonna see all their other friends hooking up in the background, and it's all gonna be a beautiful tale of love overpowering debilitating health issues. Yeah, there's too many gay-ass fake-outs trying to give me mini heart attacks at the end of every chapter, and yes, it's probably building up to a tragedy that I am never going to be prepared for. But I don't care. It's worth reading to see these two smile. By the grace of God, Insomnia has been granted an anime adaptation by those asshats that gave us Clang Zerk, and I'm praying they don't fumble it, because if anyone deserves some proper industry recognition, well, it's a lot of people, but Ojiro is definitely one of them. Hopefully a good few of you will give it a shot, and while you're at it, check out the rest of her works, except for maybe the naughtier ones. You're not missing anything substantial. Thank you for watching my review, tribute, whatever this has been, to a manga I enjoy and a creator I believe has done a fine job reminding me that I still have a heart. Don't impregnate your family members.
探し物は何ですかまだまだ探す気ですか夢の中へ行ってみたいと思いませんか